Hi, and welcome back to the Tobacco Room. This year has been an exceptionally dry and hot year for many tobacco growers in Europe as well as the United States. I know they talk a lot about an extreme El Nino weather event that could be influencing some of the weather patterns that we've been seeing, but I thought we'd take some time to discuss the differences between last year and this year and what could happen when you have drought-stressed plants. One of the main things that I've noticed right off the bat is that many of my plants seem to be a lot smaller than last year, and some varieties tend to be ripening a lot earlier. This can be both good and bad depending on the sort and depending on what you're going for. And one variety, Samsun in particular, is thriving because it usually comes from a very hot, dry region around the Black Sea in Turkey. So that variety is doing very, very well. It is already starting to ripen a bit around the bottom of the plant. So here we are out in the field again, and as you can see, it rained quite a bit today for the first time in a very long time. The drought was finally broken, but it has had consequences. Some of this Samsun Oriental tobacco is already almost ready to harvest. And here it is, only the 27th of July. That's early here in Denmark. But Samsun leaves don't really get completely yellow like a Virginia gold leaf does before you can pick them for sun curing. I would say these are almost ready to pick anytime they have kind of about 50% green loss in the leaf and that mottling colored, that's ready to sun cure. That'll sun cure up just nice as soon as we get some sun, of course. Of the plant. The Haro Velvet that I have is a Burley type of tobacco. Burley types of tobacco are often intentionally heat stressed. What it does is make them a beautiful tan color when they ripen. It increases the nicotine in the leaf, and you end up with a higher quality, although less yield, burley leaf when you intentionally heat stress the plant and stock cut and harvest a bit early. The golden burley is very similar in that it's also a smaller plant than it usually is this year, but it's ripening earlier, and that will be stock cut as well. I hope to stock cut all of the golden burley and Haro Velvet by mid-August, within the next 2 weeks. I think some of the most dramatic consequences of the drought can be seen in this Haro Velvet, which is a burley type of tobacco. Some of the plants are not even topped yet. You can already see that it's tripped into its maturing cycle. And these plants are pretty much ready to harvest. Yeah, within a week or so, I could harvest many of these plants. And the plants are probably a lot smaller than they normally would have been. However, they're a very high quality. And because of the drought stress, they might be higher in nicotine. So I'm not too sad, but we are going to have an early harvest of this Haro Velvet. And as we walk right down the line here, you can also see that some of this golden burley is also yellowing up around the bottom. And these plants are a little bigger than that Haro Velvet, but not too much bigger, and some of them I haven't even topped yet either. All of the plants are generally a lot smaller this year. They might grow a bit more now that we have this rain. You can see here again this Badischer Guttertimer. I didn't even top it yet, but this has a ways to go. It's still very, very green. And just look at this leaf. That's just a big, beautiful cigar wrapper. Nice. Virginia Gold is a tobacco sort that you probably would rather not have heat stressed. It results in lower sugar yields and just a smaller yield overall. But there's nothing I can really do about that. The plant does have quite a bit of growth left in it, so it hasn't really been tripped yet. I can't really see a lot of ripening in the yellow leaves at this point, so I think we're going to be fine for the Virginia. The Batterscher timer I have is also just looking fantastic. A slightly smaller plant than it normally would have been if it hadn't been heat stressed, but those leaves just look perfect for cigar wrappers and binders, and I think we're going to get some very high quality Batterscher timer this year, much higher quality than last year. In fact, I see no signs whatsoever of fungal disease in any of the plants. Cross my fingers, so I hope it's not too soon to say that we might see no sign of fungal disease this year due to the hot and dry conditions. Here you can see the backside of my Virginia row here. This Virginia tobacco is looking very, very healthy. Still bright green. Hasn't even really started to yellow much. Here's one that's yellowing a little bit. But because of that drought, these plants are a lot smaller than they were last year. And I don't think they're going to get a whole lot taller than this. I expect reduced yields, but high quality. The Rustica plants that I kind of dug up in different parts of the garden and transplanted into a little row, they seem to be doing fine. They're going to be very small, petite plants, but that's okay. I don't really plan on having a large harvest of Rustica anyway, but they seem to be doing really well, and they are heat adapted, you might say, so they can tolerate a wide variety of cold and hot and dry and wet conditions. And again, even though I had fungal disease wipe out my plants last year, this year the Rustica show no sign whatsoever of any fungal disease. So I'm very happy about that. Here we can see my little row of Rustica plants. I top them, I do not sucker them. And these plants have so many side branches. That's a normal trait of the sort. They're quite small and low to the ground. They rarely get much higher than knee to waist high. You can see here I got this one bagged up for seed collection. Just bright yellow flowers. A lot of tobaccos have kind of a pink or reddish flower, but Rustica always has these yellow flowers and lots of seed. They're quite hardy. All of these plants here, they survived and seeded themselves from last year, and I just dug them up and kind of transplanted them over here. After this rain, I can already see there's some slugs coming out. I might go get the slug bait here in a bit. You can also see how small the leaves are and very rubbery, extremely high in nicotine, up to 9 times higher in nicotine than other sorts. So with this kind, I top it, but not aggressively. There's a lot of other little tiny tops that develop, and that's okay if those go. And I do not prune it unless there's a very large side branch that's easily pruned off from the base. I just allow it kind of to do its thing and develop into the kind of plant that it was meant to be. So I hope you enjoyed this video and got something out of it, and let me know in the comments what you're noticing with your plants this year. Has it been a hot, dry year for you as well? If you're interested in purchasing the blueprints for my tobacco fermenting barrel, you can do that. The instructions on how to order those blueprints are in the description. For a very small donation, you can build your own tobacco fermentation barrel. Subscribe, like, and share. It really boosts the channel, and I appreciate it a lot. We'll see you in the next video.